From FingerLakes1.com, this is Inside the FLX. I'm Josh Durso, and today we are discussing the YEA program. That's YEA. It's a new way aimed at getting young people, students in high school or middle school, engaged in thinking like an entrepreneur. It's important here in the Finger Lakes. The program is powered by Locate Finger Lakes, which was spurred by Senator Michael Nozzolio. It's also powered by Finger Lakes Community College and other local partners. My guests this hour include LaToya Collins, YEA program manager, as well as Michael Zellers and Megan Marley, who are sharing the student experience, their experience from Mynderse Academy. All right, thank you guys for coming in today. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about. A really cool, unique, interesting program that's getting young people engaged in a community that really is pretty important to the Finger Lakes. Let's start with sort of the overview of what this program is and how it sort of came to be.
Sure thing. So my name is LaToya Collins, and I'm the program manager for the Young Entrepreneurship Academy program at Finger Lakes Community College. And how it came to be is that Locate Finger Lakes took a special interest in revitalizing the economy in the Finger Lakes region, and they learned about the YEA program, Young Entrepreneurs Academy. And so they were able to bring the program to Finger Lakes Community College as well as Cayuga Community College in order to offer students in grades 6 through 12 the opportunity to develop real businesses and help contribute to that economic vitality.
And what's the response been like from students since the inception of this particular program?
Sure. So this is the first time that the program is offered at FLCC. It's our very own baby this year. However, 6 years ago or so, it was offered through the Canandaigua Chamber. So many people were familiar with the program. They had heard about the program. So for them to know that the program was back and housed within FLCC, it piqued a lot of interest and people were interested.
Mm-hmm. And as I understand, we have two winners with us today.
Yes.
Michael Zellers, Megan Marley. Megan, let's start with you. What's this experience been like, especially for you? You are a freshman, correct?
Yep.
What has this experience been like running through a program like this?
There was a lot of pressure at the beginning, I would say, but LaToya helped us a lot throughout the program. Mm-hmm. And everybody was basically at the same pace, I feel like. You didn't know that, but like when you got to the class, you felt better and like you were reassured. And it was, like I said, a rough at the beginning, but as you went on, it definitely got easier. And I would say the business plan was the hardest part of it, but once you figured out like what your business was and how you're going to get around it, it got easier. And being a freshman in high school and playing sports and everything, there was a lot of time that I spent with this program too. So the time effort was a lot, but it was definitely worth it.
And obviously, Michael, you're in that transitional phase now, graduating, going to college.
Yes, I'm a senior.
Was this a nice sort of prep setup for sort of the responsibility you're going to have to bear over the next 4 years?
Yes, I'd say so. So this taught me how to really manage my time while getting the work done efficiently and making sure there's no quality loss. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this program helps me kind of build upon my time management skills with that, and I think this will definitely help me in college.
And as you, Megan, look forward into the rest of your high school career, does it feel like you're kind of ahead of the curve a little bit now because you have gone through this and you have this experience behind you?
Yes, definitely. I was glad I got into it this year, though, because as you get through high school, things do get more challenging, and starting off sooner just, I feel like, has put me at a greater advantage to everybody, and it was just very helpful that we got to be able to do this program.
And LaToya, what kind of students do we typically see jumping into this program and getting involved in this kind of work? Obviously, it's heavy. It's a time commitment. What are some of the components that you guys sort of look for or see in the students that come through?
Sure. So tough times don't last. Tough people do. And what Michael and Megan speak about in regards to being able to take on a rigorous workload, being able to manage your time as well as other activities, those are some of the strengths and characteristics and qualities that we would look to for students who are interested in the program. There is curriculum that is taught, but some of the girth in the confidence, in the encouragement, in the self-determination, there has to be a seed within the student to get through that business plan or to step out and begin to network. Just to throw a statistic out there, 100% of students who participate in the YEA program become high school graduates or are high school graduates. So we're looking for students who aren't afraid of hard work, but also students who aren't afraid to have fun. As much work as we do, there's also an opportunity to kind of let your hair down and network and discover more about yourself. So students who are open to those types of experiences and not afraid of hard work.
And what does that sort of, what does the timeline look like for the program? And then also, what are some of sort of the benchmarks of things that the students experience as they're going through the process? Obviously a business plan, some networking. What are some of the things that the students encounter throughout the process?
Sure thing. So the program is 30 weeks long. Our program at FLCC is held on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until noon. We do reflect the middle school, high school schedule. So every time there's a break in the school system, there's a break within our program. So we won't have you coming in Easter Sunday. And what happens is during that course of time, we break down the curriculum into 3 segments: the big idea, the pitch, and the launch. So during that first segment, teaching students how to think of an idea that's passionate for them and that of course is profitable. And then during that second segment, just like Shark Tank, prepping them for that experience to stand in front of investors and pitch their business idea to receive real investors' money. And then at the end, we hold a trade show, which this year will be held on May 18th at Eastview Mall, 10 a.m. And students are able to set up tables with their product and or social justice movement information. So you can start kind of a nonprofit in this program as well. And they're able to start to make their first dollars at the end of that program in May.
Okay, so let's start with you, Megan. What was the big idea, or what was the thing that you took through this, bred through this process?
I definitely came up with a lot of ideas, some crazy ones for sure that not many people liked, but my final idea was a healthy, beneficial protein gum, and we're called Peak Gum. And there was a challenge a couple weeks ago where we found out where we couldn't be called Peak Gum Company, since I am a sole proprietor, so we did have to change our logo to Peak Gum, but that is our idea.
That's really interesting. Michael?
So I'm creating basically a social platform. I guess you could compare it to Mesh.com for online gamers, because the gaming industry nowadays has become so mainstream and so diverse. I wanted to promote like the inclusion of other gamers and collaboration with one another, because I got this from experience. Like I had this idea before I even joined the program. I wanted to create somewhere where gamers could find one another who had similar interests. And so they could find people with similar interests who were put on the same platforms like Xbox, PlayStation, and other favorable platforms. So I wanted to create this platform to promote that collaboration, because I often find it hard for me to find people who had similar skills and interests as I did. So I want to kind of tackle that issue rather than eradicate it. So basically my idea is that.
Two very different, two very unique concepts. Is that kind of one of the more inspiring parts of this whole process, is just seeing the range of ideas that come out of it, LaToya?
Yes, and to speak to Megan's point, I had a parent who was concerned. My son's in 12th grade. This program is open to students in 6th grade as well. How will he fit in? Will there be such a difference in, that community of students, despite age, including age and grade? And I think Megan spoke to it. Once you're in there, everyone has the same agenda, which is to start a business. And so that kind of puts everyone on an even playing field, and age all of a sudden isn't at the forefront of your mind. Is that a viable business? Or, wow, look at that logo. And so that becomes your commonality, is that you're all in it together to start a successful business.
And obviously, from the student perspective, I would have to imagine that this feels a little more tangible probably than some of the things you're used to working on tests, prepping for standard tests, working on school projects, things like that. Is this sort of a reality break for you guys to kind of think outside the box and get those creative juices flowing, like while you're also handling the normal workload?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I like a lot of hands-on things, and this has just put so much into perspective for me because I didn't realize how much and like what you had to do for everything. And I feel like making the gum and just being able to put it into reality has been a great experience.
Michael?
Yeah, I feel like this program has helped me embrace my tactile learning preference, because I don't break down that I can't do math all the time because I'm terrible at math. Yeah. But I'm very creative in what I do. Like in my free time, I'm a freelance multimedia designer, so I do things like Photoshop and video editing and all that kind of thing. Yeah. So through this program, I was able to incorporate my set of skills into my own business.
And LaToya, as you look at these students and how they're sort of shaping what the future of education very well may look like, are programs like this going to become more of the norm and less of the exception?
I would think so. Something that I always tell the students who may be at a recruiting table that I'm holding, or students who are a part of the program, especially, let's take Megan for example. At 14 years old, she has this viable business. The information that she's learned will always be with her. So at 16 years old, she can replicate this in a whole nother form of a different business, and she can continue that process so that by the time she is 18, like you mentioned before, she's eons ahead of some of the other students who may be applying. So I think that there is great potential for students, the younger you start to look into becoming an educator at some point down the road, and it may not be long down the road. Rachel Zeitz is a former YEA student who took the program at 12 years old, and she currently at 18 has signed a deal with Dick's Sporting Goods to sell her equipment. So she's in a position now to teach and educate, and I think it could be the way of the future.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because my follow-up to that was going to literally be, well, what are a couple of the stories that kind of stand out to you, having seen this process play out a couple times?
Well, I always look to my students and I say, they have $1 million ideas, I have no doubt, and it definitely becomes what you do with it. And we've given them a foundation and we'll always be there as a resource for them. But as I mentioned, Rachel Zeitz, you can actually see her on Shark Tank if you Google it, on YouTube. And she did make her pitch to the Sharks. However, she did not get a deal, but we know that show gives you notoriety and fame, and she was able to continue on, not let that discourage her, and she has secured a deal. And actually on this Friday, May 3rd, they're holding the Saunders Scholars Competition, whereby first place winners from all investor panels will compete against each other, and she will actually be kind of a keynote speaker at one of the events for the weekend. So I'm super excited to meet her. I'm looking up to her now, and so many. I have a product that I take around as a part of my recruitment piece, and it's the Gotta Go button. And this was created by another middle school student who created this button that you train your dog or cat to press, and it says, I gotta go. He entered the Walmart pitch contest, get it on the shelf, and he won. So now his product is in Walmart. And just one more story, the Wolf'em stick, large stick for you to roast your marshmallows by the campfire, and these students have their product in over 100 plus Wegmans stores. So it expands wide, but then it brings it back local, which is what I love about the program.
And obviously you mentioned the schedule earlier, what the students are going through, what the time commitment is. From the student perspective, I'm very curious, Megan, what is that thought process as you're going through considering whether this is something you really want to do? When you see the weekend time commitment, what's that thought process where you're like, this is something I want to do and it's worth the time?
At the beginning, when I first saw LaToya at the table at the school, I was just so excited. Like when I got home, I was like, I got to finish this, I got to get in. And from then on, I was just like, this is definitely something I want to do. I've always wanted to be in the business world, and I didn't know what I wanted to do per se, but I always feel like I've had that strive to be in this part of business. And just thinking through it, there's a lot of steps I still have to take, but I'm willing to do that.
Mm-hmm. And Michael?
So yeah, like, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So when you're thinking about the time commitment portion of this, what was your thought process when you're actually weighing whether it's something you want to do or not? Were you looking at sort of the benefit leading into your college years, or were you just sort of thinking about, this is this thing that I've wanted to plug into the world for a long time now, and this is my opportunity?
So actually, interestingly, people have came to me about this program. I have my guidance counselor, my principal, and I think a couple of teachers and an instructor who recommended me to do this program. So I therefore applied, and I got in after taking an interview with LaToya.
It's interesting.
And in the beginning, I was sort of iffy on like how I would be able to do this, considering I had to wake up early on Saturday mornings, and then right after the class, I have to go to work, and then have other things I need to do during that day, and then throughout the week in general. But as time went on, I figured out, as I said before, the time management. I learned how to do that, and it will build upon my college career.
And LaToya, what for that student who might be on the fence, when you sit down and talk to them, and you know you have that feeling they're a good fit, what are a couple of the things that you tell them to sort of reassure them that it won't be a killer? It's something that they can absolutely do and they can absolutely handle.
I think it depends. It's on a person-to-person basis. Everyone has their why. And one of the great things, as Michael mentioned, each student is interviewed to be a part of the program. We are selective. We can hold up to 24 students in the program. And I think that sitting down in those interviews and understanding why students are even sitting in front of me helps me to kind of, and it's not even a sell, it's an encouragement. And almost a plea, now that I've seen the program come full circle, to say, there's no better time. Why not? You know, most recently I spoke with a young lady who was coming back from a place of just being a teenager, and I said, well, you can use that energy and you could start to make some global impact if you really wanted to, and you should consider this program to do it. So just in case you need a place to redirect that energy, what better way than to turn around and help others who are in your situation?
Yeah, and really preparing the student at the same time for what the future holds for them, especially if they want to make an impact locally. Is that part of this also? Obviously, Locate Finger Lakes is all about supporting and growing the Finger Lakes. Is part of the hope with this program to kind of keep some of that energy here and keep some of that energy in the Finger Lakes, instead of sending it off to college and maybe not seeing it come back to the Finger Lakes like might have been the case historically over the last 10, 20 years?
Yes, and I think you hit the nail on the head. You often hear about students leaving for college and never returning to their hometowns, or returning years and years later and not really having roots there, versus these students who take this program, and there's tons of networking opportunities. So they've probably interfaced with 25, 30, 40 business leaders from this community that they can always go to as a resource. So that's building those roots that can definitely keep them connected, whether it's to continue on in their business or to be a resource to others and help them grow their businesses.
So I got two final questions for the students before we get you guys back on your way. First is, what is as you sort of reflect back on your time, what is the one thing that you sort of took away from it, that one thing that you learned about yourself, maybe you didn't know before? Michael, we can start with you on this one.
So I learned that I was actually capable of starting my own business, because when I first actually had the idea before I came into this program, I was sort of scared to really delve into all the work that would come into this, like doing business plans, getting investors, all that kind of thing. But with the help of LaToya in this program and the instruction I got along with it, I kind of built up my confidence into actually trying to promote myself as a business leader and an entrepreneur. And here I am today, got $1,000 in investments, and I'm ready to start.
That's awesome. And Megan?
There's a lot of things that I learned about myself. One of the things is just, I always say this, but that you can do anything that you put your mind to. And just it depends on you. If you want it, then you can go for it, and it just depends on the hard work that you put in yourself. And I figured that out through this program, and it's just helped with like public speaking too. I've learned more about like how to do that, and that you can do it without being as nervous or as flustered or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And the last question, of course, when you guys are talking to other students, well, what is the pitch? What are you telling them about this program that maybe is reminding them or showing them that this is something worth pursuing? It's worth doing.
You want to go first?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I would say that the benefits are definitely there. The investors panel was crazy. It was fun, and even though it's a lot of work, the $1,000 is really helpful, especially going forward in the business. With the trade show, even though I won't be able to sell my actual product because we're looking into manufacturing, we're going to be promoting, and the money that we got from the investors is very helpful with all the marketing materials and everything so far. So I would just say that the benefits are good, and even though it depends on you. If you want something, then you can go for it.
Mm-hmm. Michael?
Yeah, so even if you don't get the full $1,000, whatever money is actually allowed there, if you don't get all that, you get a little bit of money regardless. But the bigger thing you're taking from this is the actual skills to really pursue your dreams into this, because life is a banquet and you're at the head of the table. So, once dinner is over, once you're gone for good. So you gotta really tackle what you feel like is important to you.
Yeah.
That's what the YEA program is about, is you pursuing your dreams and building upon some kind of entrepreneurship and making your dream come true, and helping other people along the way, making them happy, whether it be a social movement or a product like hers is, or a website like mine is going to be. No matter what, every little thing can make a difference in this world.
And in LaToya, it is clear that you have some incredible ambassadors now for this program. For parents, students who might be listening, might be watching, might be wondering, thinking maybe this is something for me in the future, give us the 411 on how to get involved, how to get a hold of you, how to get this going.
Sure. I'm these students' biggest fans, and they know I'm a broken record. I'm so proud. I'm so proud as the record I play every time I see them. A great opportunity to get involved. This is part of the question that you asked prior. Typically a program like this does cost a little over $1,000 to be able to participate. We consider that tuition. Thanks to Locate Finger Lakes and the Locate Finger Lakes team, they're offering full scholarships to all participants in this program. So no better time to get involved.
Right.
These are guest speakers, field trips, curriculum that is unmatched and exceeds a collegiate level that students can take advantage of at zero cost to them. We can be reached at YEA@flcc.edu. The recruitment process for this 19-20 year is underway. So the official deadline is September, but again, this is a competitive program, and we want to be able to fill these seats. So the sooner you apply, the better. You can also access an application at YEAUSA.org, and on that website, you would just search for the Finger Lakes Community College location. And I can also take your phone call, and I am at 585-785-1754, and that's my direct line, and I love to talk, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
And that's awesome. And of course, we'll drop all the information that she just rattled off in the show notes, and of course on fingerlakes1.com. LaToya, Megan, Michael, thank you guys for coming in. Really awesome stuff. Really great work, guys. Super impressive. And LaToya, keep up the great work leading this charge locally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.